All right, let's just jump right in. What if the key to world peace wasn't, some new treaty or political agreement, but a symphony? Yeah, a symphony. Today we're diving into a really ambitious theory called philosophology. Now, this thing claims to harmonize pretty much everything. We're talking ancient history, modern science, and even our own inner lives. It is a massive idea, so let's get into it.
So, the source material we're looking at today kicks off with this really thought-provoking question. I mean, think about it for a second. The natural world, right? It seems to just work. It's all in this perfect, effortless harmony. You've got the sunrise, the changing seasons, heck, even the way our own bodies function without us thinking about it. So, why is it that humanity seems to be the one exception? Why are we so often stuck in conflict?
Well, according to this theory, the answer boils down to one thing: our unique gift of free will. The argument goes that we've kind of misused it. And in doing so, we've created this huge artificial split between our inner spiritual selves and our outer material lives. It's like we're living two separate lives at once. And that internal crack, that fracture, well, the theory says that's the real source of all the conflict we see out in the world. So this puts our free will at a kind of fork in the road. On one side, you have spiritualism. That's the path of seeking oneness with nature, right? Finding that inner peace. But on the other side, you've got materialism, which is all about separating ourselves from nature so we can analyze it, measure it, and build the world around us. Now, here's the kicker. According to this theory, the problem isn't that one path is right and the other is wrong. The real problem is our failure to walk them both at the same time. And that is exactly where this whole idea of philosophology comes into play. It's being put forward as like a whole new field of study. A system of thinking that's designed to literally build a bridge over that gap between the spiritual and the material. The goal here isn't just to think about it, but to create a real, practical way to harmonize our inner and outer worlds, to turn all that internal conflict into some kind of collaboration. There's this fantastic quote from the Danish composer Bent Lorentzen that just perfectly captures the feel of this theory. After he read the source material, he said it wasn't like reading a bunch of separate ideas. He said, and I quote, "Each thought simply integrated and merged itself into a symphony. And that to distract anyone with a unique sentence would be like taking a Chopin piece and only offering one note." I mean, wow, that's a powerful way to put it, and it gives us the perfect metaphor for what we're about to dig into. It's not about the single notes, it's about the whole piece of music. Okay, so if this whole thing is a symphony, how is it actually composed? What are the instruments? Because this theory isn't just a philosophy, right? It's presented as a practical toolkit. So let's take a look at the actual instruments it uses to create all this harmony.
Yeah, this musical analogy is absolutely central to the whole framework. The source uses 3 specific instruments to represent 3 different modes of thought. First, you've got the rebub, this really ancient stringed instrument. That stands for our spiritual side, our idealism. Then you have the tabla drums, which represent the hard, rhythmic realism of the material world. And finally, there's the harmonium, which is interesting because it's a Western instrument that was totally absorbed into Indian music. And that represents the grand synthesis, pragmatism, the force that brings the other two together into something new. All right, the first big tool in this toolkit is called the, and get ready for this, Gurmukhi metric systems. Yeah, it's a mouthful, I know, but it's a really fascinating idea. The best way to think about it is like a DNA test, but for languages and ideas. The source claims this system can actually trace different languages, scripts, and whole systems of knowledge back to a common ancestor, showing this hidden unity that runs underneath everything. The second tool is something you might have actually seen before. It's called cymatics. It's the study of visible sound. You know those amazing videos where they put sand on a metal plate and play a specific musical frequency, and the sand just self-organizes into these incredible, intricate geometric patterns? That's cymatics. And in this whole framework, these universal patterns are seen as the ultimate harmonizing force. It's a real, tangible, physical bridge that connects the spiritual ideas of the East with a scientific analysis of the West. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so now we get to the part of the theory that, well, it takes a really fascinating turn.
The argument here is that none of these ideas are actually new. Not at all. Instead, the claim is that they are all part of this deep, incredibly complex history, a single thread of knowledge that's been passed down through what it calls a hidden lineage for thousands of years. So the central claim is that philosophy isn't an invention. It's just the modern expression of this ancient, unbroken stream of wisdom. The source suggests that this knowledge wasn't just written in books. It was actively protected and safeguarded by this really surprising and diverse network of people. We're talking spiritual leaders, master artisans, and even kings, all playing a part throughout history. And when I say the breadth of this claimed lineage is extraordinary, I mean it. Just listen to this web of influence. The source connects its ideas through the Sikh gurus, like Guru Nanak and Guru Angad Dev, through artisan communities in India, like the Parmar, Ramgardia, and Tarkhan. It connects to the Indo-Persian Chishti order of Sufi mystics, all the way back to the descendants of the legendary Ikshwaku solar dynasty. And then, get this, all the way to the Tarkhan kings of ancient Rome. It's an absolutely sprawling historical map.
This timeline really helps put the immense scale of this whole claim into perspective. So the thread supposedly starts way back in ancient Rome with the cultural influence of these Tarkin kings. Then you fast forward over 1,000 years to 1541 with the founding of the first Gurmukhi University. Then we jump to modern times, 1990, when philosophology gets some academic recognition at the University of Adelaide. And it doesn't even stop there. It projects into the future with a proposal for a whole Gurmukhi World R&D University built on these very principles.
So, as you can probably tell, this is not just some dusty historical theory or a philosophical thought experiment. Not at all. The source material frames all of these ideas as a matter of real, urgent importance. It all builds up to a vision for the future that's, well, it's very specific, and it's definitely provocative. The entire theory, all of these threads we've been following, they all converge on one single point in time, the year 2025. So, what's so important about 2025? Well, here's the connection. The text explicitly, directly links its entire message to specific cosmic events that it predicts are going to happen in 2025. And this is what really reframes the whole theory. It stops being just an academic curiosity and becomes what the source calls an essential toolkit, something we'll need to navigate a period of what it predicts will be profound global change. So, to get really specific, the crucial point is this. The source points to a particular astrological event called a Kala Sarpa Yoga. It says this is a planetary alignment that will happen between March and July of 2025. And the prediction is that this alignment could trigger major global upheaval, which would make the harmonizing principles of philosophy not just interesting, but absolutely essential. And that brings us to the end, leaving us with a final and pretty powerful question. We've just walked through an incredibly ambitious theory, right? I mean, one that tries to weave together spirituality, science, all this ancient history, and even predictions for the future. So we'll leave you with this to think about. Could a symphony of ideas, one that unites all these different fields, truly be the key to universal peace?